Your cat just said something and you missed it. The slow blink is not a reflex. It's not drowsiness. In 2020, animal behavior scientists at the University of Sussex and Portsmouth published the first controlled study confirming it as a deliberate communicative act between cats and humans. That study, led by Dr. Karen McComb and Dr. Tasman Humphrey, tested whether slow blinking by humans toward cats would produce slow blinks in return. It did, consistently. The behavior is bidirectional. That makes it a conversation. To understand why this matters, start with how a cat reads the world. A cat's visual field spans roughly 200 degrees. Their peripheral vision is built for detecting motion, specifically the motion of things that might want to eat them. Those vertical slit pupils aren't aesthetic. They allow rapid adjustment across a wider range of light conditions than round pupils can manage, giving cats precise depth perception in near darkness while still reading threat cues from across a room. In the presence of a threat, a cat holds a fixed, unblinking stare. This isn't rudeness, it's a survival posture. An unbroken stare signals aggression readiness, the visual equivalent of a drawn weapon. The slow blink inverts all of that. Breaking the stare and closing the eyes, even partially, is a voluntary lowering of the threat posture. The cat is choosing to go visually offline. That choice carries enormous weight in feline social logic. Neurologically, this connects to the amygdala, the brain region managing fear and threat response. When a cat slow blinks, it's actively downregulating that system. The signal it sends is, I have assessed you, and I am choosing not to be alarmed. This behavior didn't appear from nowhere. Cats began their relationship with humans around 10,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, drawn to grain stores and the rodents they attracted. They were never fully domesticated. They self-selected proximity. Dogs were selectively bred for compliance over roughly 15,000 years. Cats were not. They retained their autonomy, which means every communicative gesture a cat makes toward a human is voluntary. That distinction isn't trivial. A cat that slow blinks at you has made a choice. It hasn't been conditioned to perform affection. It's run its own internal threat assessment and returned a verdict of safety. That's a more honest signal than most animals are capable of giving. In the McComb and Humphrey experiment, cats were observed in their own homes and in a shelter setting. In both environments, human-initiated slow blinking produced a measurable increase in slow blink responses from the cats, and an increased likelihood of approach. The approach finding is the one that matters. A slow blink didn't just produce a mirrored blink, it produced movement toward the human. The cat wasn't simply reflecting a signal, it was acting on it. That's the hallmark of genuine communication. Mirroring emotional states across species is rare. It's been documented in primates, corvids, and elephants. Adding domestic cats to that list reframes them entirely, not as solitary, indifferent animals, but as socially calibrated ones, operating on their own terms. But the slow blink doesn't work the same way in every context. In a high-stress environment, a shelter cage, a vet examination room, a cat's threat system is already elevated. The signal can be drowned out entirely. Chronic stress elevates cortisol in cats just as it does in humans. A 2019 study in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that shelter cats with persistently elevated cortisol showed significantly reduced social signaling, including fewer slow blinks, regardless of human behavior. There's a specific anatomy to the genuine slow blink. The eyes drop to roughly half closed. The upper lid curves into a soft crescent, and the movement is unhurried, typically lasting 1 to 2 full seconds. A rapid blink is not the same signal. Speed matters. Ethologists use the term action pattern to describe behaviors that carry meaning through their form, not just their occurrence. The slow blink's deliberate pace is part of the message. Rushing it changes what it says. Researchers have developed a feline version of the facial action coding system, originally designed for humans, called CatFax. It identifies 26 distinct action units in cat facial muscles. The slow blink engages at least 4 of them simultaneously. Those 4 units involve the upper lid levator, the orbicularis oculi surrounding the eye, and 2 brow-adjacent muscles that soften the orbital ridge. The result is a face that reads, even across species, as non-threatening and open. Humans read this correctly without being taught, and the muscle geometry explains why. A split diagram of feline versus human facial relaxation shows near-identical patterns in the periorbital region. The orbicularis oculi softens, the brow depressors release, and the orbital ridge flattens in both species. The slow blink signal crosses the species boundary because the underlying anatomy rhymes. In the Macomb study, participants with no prior knowledge of feline behavior still rated slow blinking cats as friendlier and more approachable. The signal doesn't require translation. If a cat slow blinks at you, the evidence-supported response is to slow blink back, deliberately, unhurried, and then look slightly away. Breaking eye contact after the blink completes the signal. It says, I received you. The gaze aversion isn't dismissal. In feline social grammar, a direct, sustained stare after a blink reinstates the threat signal. A slight turn, 15 to 30 degrees off axis, maintains presence without pressure. The conversation stays open. The slow blink also appears in first encounters. This is the finding most people miss. A cat meeting a stranger who slow blinks first, before any touch, before any vocalization, shows measurably lower arousal markers within the first 3 minutes. Those arousal markers, ear rotation, tail movement rate, and pupil dilation, are measurable and consistent. Researchers use them as proxy indicators for internal stress state. The slow blink reduced all 3. It's a de-escalation tool that requires no physical contact. Applied to veterinary settings, this has real consequences. A 2021 review in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that owner-initiated slow blinking before handling reduced stress behaviors in cats during routine examinations. The behavior isn't exclusive to human-cat interaction. Cats slow blink at each other. Bonded cats in multi-cat households show higher rates of mutual slow blinking than non-bonded pairs. The signal predates its use with humans. We inherited it from their social vocabulary. That evolutionary origin matters. Cats didn't develop this signal for us. They brought it with them. What Macomb and Humphrey revealed is that cats extended an existing intraspecies signal across the species boundary. And it worked. That's a remarkable cognitive step. Consider what's actually happening the next time your cat slow blinks at you across a quiet room. An animal with fully intact predator instincts, zero evolutionary obligation to trust you, and no social conditioning compelling it, is choosing to lower its guard. We opened with the idea that your cat said something and you missed it. Here's the full sentence. I have looked at you. I have run the calculation. You are not a threat. You are safe to be near. That's not a small thing to say. To appreciate how significant that cognitive step is, consider the company cats now keep in the research literature. Chimpanzees use gaze following to read human intent, documented across more than 40 published studies. Ravens track human attention states and adjust their caching behavior accordingly. Both require decades of research to establish. The cat slow blink finding achieved comparable cross-species signaling evidence in a single controlled experiment. That compression of evidence is itself a data point worth sitting with. Tonight, when your cat looks at you from across the room and its eyes go soft and slow blink back. Then look slightly away. You'll have just held a conversation in a language older than any word you know.